Hello, I am going to be doing a annotation of an article I found on the American Psychological Association website, apa.org, called Social Media's Growing Impact on Our Lives by Summer Allen. Summer basically wrote an article that is geared towards mostly the youth, because social media, I feel, is, well, numbers show that social media is used mainly by younger generations, by teen and adolescents. But she took a different take on it. She has four different subtopics, four main topics, subtopics within her article. She does have quite a few studies that she read that you can tell were very extensive. She didn't just base it off one study, she did, I believe, three of them in here. And she also has five, make sure, five different key speakers, and that she did research from, that she got research from, five different members who have PhDs, who are not only fluent in social media, but they also, some of them also have a medical degrees. So she goes very in depth about what social media does to youth as far as their well-being, their cognitive thinking, and different things like that. The first subheading is called Social Media in Relationships. It is a concern whether it is taking, social media is eating away at face-to-face time. And Jeffrey Hall, PhD, he's the director of Relationships and Technology Lab at University of Texas. And he said that no matter what the technology is, that there's always going to be a belief that that technology is taking away from face-to-face time with friends and family. In conclusion, he did say that reading the works of other people, based on his own research, that there is very little evidence that social media directly displaces meaningful interaction. However, the study, which you can click on the link, it says study, you click on a link and it'll take you right to that study, which is one reason why I really did enjoy this article. If you were confused or wanted more information about a study, you click the link, it takes you right to it, you read about it, and that way you can understand a little bit more what Summer Allen was speaking about in her article. So this study was, you were supposed to keep a daily log of doing 19 different activities during the weeks that the study was going on. And while you were doing those, you were asked to abstain from social media. What ended up happening was people were doing cooking, cleaning, more house chores, browsing the internet, online shopping. They were doing those things and still not replacing it with face-to-face interaction. So that's why there's no real evidence. The second subheading, and there's also a link here for a study by Jean Twenge, PhD, professor of psychology at San Diego State University, that this subtitle, I'm sorry, is called "What About Teens?" Hall, Dr. Hall, who was in the study from the previous subheading, also worked closely with a researcher from Microsoft Research, who is, I'm sorry, I just lost the name, Jean Twenge, did a research based on face-to-face interaction again, and this has to do with just teenagers. Basically, what this study found was that social media is not taking away from face-to-face time. What it actually is flipped around, that parents are now restricting teens' ability to spend time with their peers. And they are using social media as a way to augment that time. And it just says that, in general, that there are both risks and opportunities for adolescents in social media, as long as we are able to monitor it and we are able to put time frames on it, so it is not affecting your social skills. The next subheading is called Risks of Expanding Social Networks. Based on the Common Sense Media report, more than a quarter of teens say that social media is extremely important to them. This is not because of what a lot of people think that they're getting online to do other things. They're actually saying that it is a way for them to express their creativity. However, as the previous study said, that the conclusion is that it could bring risks and opportunities. So some of these risks are cyberbullying, when you are exposed at a young age to things like sex and sex chat rooms and different things like that. It's really scary for somebody that's young. However, when you do get online and there's a chance of being cyberbullied or sex trafficked or something like that, they're using online as a way to get to people now. And it just says that when you are on social media, there is a higher risk of being judged for your race, your sexual your sexual preference, your religion, your political views. There's a lot of strategic self-presentation when it comes to social media, and you learn about your own identity, but you don't want to be influenced by social media. You should still able to be yourself and get on social media without the risk of it overtaking your life. So there's a fine balance in or a gray area of that. At the end, she has a section labeled remaining questions, and it kind of just wrapped up the article, and any kind of miscellaneous questions that were you might have had while reading it were answered at the end, which I thought was great. I thought using a different study for each subheading was a really good way to keep us in the know while reading it about where she was getting the information from. She has 5 doctors at the bottom that she explains where they went to school and their area of expertise. I thought that was great. In the article, there was a lot of communications terms, which was very enlightening for me, because when you're learning it in class, you're thinking, I'm never going to hear this again. I'm never going to need to know that. I'm never going to need to know this. And it is nice to read something and know exactly what they were talking about. She used a lot of great terms. There were several scholarly sources. The research was intensive, but the research behind it was intensive, but the actual article was brief. And like I said, there were links to take you from study to study, so that worked out really well too. And like I said, she just concluded it by naming, any random questions that you have were probably answered at the end, and if not, you can go right to the studies by clicking on a link, and those will answer your questions as well. Other than that, I think Summer Allen did really well on this. There's actually a part 2 that I'm going to plan on reading, and I think I'm going to use this study for my future projects that we have going on. So I thought it was good.